She said she needed space, and now she's back. Never go right back to the same position that made her leave in the first place, I tell you. In this video, I'm gonna walk you through exactly what you need to do the moment she comes back into your life. I'm gonna break down how to respond, how to reframe the dynamic, how to rebuild attraction the right way, and most importantly, how to make sure that you never go back to being the guy that she walked away from. Because if you don't change the dynamic, you're just replaying the same story with a different ending. If you're ready, let's jump into it. Jessica OS here, welcome to my channel. Step 1, slow everything down. Immediately she comes back and suddenly it feels like relief, like validation, like you've been chosen again. So what do? You speed up, lean in emotionally before she's earned that position, etc. And that right there is actually what causes a major problem. Because when you move fast, what you're really communicating to her is this: nothing has changed. You still have the same level of access to me that you had before you left. But pause. Because the way you respond in that moment sets the entire tone for everything else that follows. When you slow things down, you're not playing games. You're recalibrating the dynamic. You're showing her that your time, attention, and energy are no longer automatic. You're showing her that there is now a gap between her reaching out and you responding. And inside that gap is where your value starts to build. Let's get specific about what slowing down actually looks like. First, your response time becomes intentional and not reactive. You're not glued to your phone waiting for her to message you. You have a life, priorities, etc. So when she reaches out, you respond when it makes sense for you, not when it's urgent for her. Second, your tone is calm and grounded. You're not overexcited. You're not cold either. You're composed. Think neutral confidence. You're engaging, but you're not emotionally invested right away. Third, your availability is controlled. If she suddenly wants to see you, you don't rearrange your entire schedule to make it happen. Get it? You check your availability like you would for anybody else before you commit. If you don't have free time, you don't force it. This is where a lot of men panic, thinking, well, if I don't act fast, maybe I'll lose her again. But I need you to understand, you don't lose a woman by having standards. You lose her by having none. Step 2, don't reward her disappearance. If a woman pulls away, disappears, becomes inconsistent, or treats you like an option, and then returns to find you even more invested than you were before, what lesson do you think you're teaching her? She's learning that leaving costs her nothing. She's learned that your standards are flexible. And more importantly, she's learned that your attention is guaranteed. She'll always get it. And that's a dangerous position to put yourself in. Now let's clear something up. Not every woman who comes back has malicious intentions. Sometimes maybe she was genuinely confused, maybe the timing was off, maybe she genuinely needed space. But you see, your job is not to assume the best and give everything freely. Your job is to protect your value until her actions prove that she deserves access once again. And that's the difference. So what does not rewarding her disappearance actually look like in real life? Starts with your energy, okay? Don't greet her return like you've been waiting, with pom-poms and all, right? Don't overinvest early. Don't flood her with attention just because she reappeared. Meet her where she is, not where you wish she was. Even if you don't say it directly, your tone, your responsiveness, your eagerness can communicate, hey, I'm just happy you're back. And that's all she needs to feel comfortable again without taking responsibility. Instead, your presence should feel different. There's a slight distance, a calm detachment. Not cold or rude, not fully open either. She should feel that something has changed, because it has. Your standards have. And if she wants to get back to where things were, she has to move toward you and not expect you to move towards her. Why should she get full access to your time, attention, and your emotional investment now when she didn't handle it properly before? If you can't answer that clearly, then you have no reason to give it. Now, here's where other guys go to the extreme and overcorrect, okay? There's no need to punish her. That's not the move. Punishment is emotional. It shows that you're still reacting to what she did. And reaction is still a form of losing control. You see, the goal is not to make her feel bad. It's to make her earn her position again. And earning doesn't happen through words. It happens through consistency, effort, and time. You're watching now. You're observing. You're seeing if her behavior aligns with her return. Because if she's truly interested in reconnecting, she'll invest. She'll show up differently. She'll close the gap. And if she doesn't, then you have your answer without needing to chase, question, or overanalyze. Remember, access to you is a privilege and not a guarantee. Step 3, address what happened without getting emotional. You are going to acknowledge what happened, but you're not going to react to it. When she comes back, there's an unspoken tension in the interaction, whether you believe it or not. I'm sure you feel it. She feels it too. There's history sitting in the background. And if you ignore that, you're essentially telling her that whatever you did didn't matter enough for me to bring it up. That will lower your standards immediately. You see, addressing it doesn't mean explaining how hurt you were or how betrayed you felt, or confused you felt, how much it affected you, things like that. Because at this point, you'll just be seeking validation. The moment you do that, the dynamic will flip again, okay? That's not where you want to be. So the goal here that you should try or strive to achieve is clarity without emotional dependency. You're not trying to make her understand your feelings. You're making her aware of your standards. There's a difference. For example, at some point in the interaction, you can say something simple like, last time you pulled away without much explanation, and that's not something I'm interested in repeating. You're stating a fact and setting a direction. That's control. Now, what happens next is where you learn everything you need to know. Watch how she responds. If she takes accountability, explains herself without deflecting, and shows some level of awareness, that's a great sign. It doesn't mean everything is fixed, but it does mean there's something to work with. If she avoids it, minimizes it, jokes it off, flips it back on you, that basically tells you that she hasn't changed. And don't ignore that signal because you're desperate for connection more than the truth. Don't do that. If she can't handle a calm, grounded acknowledgement of what happened, then she's probably not ready for a different outcome. And you have to see it as it is. Because you're not trying to win an argument, you're setting a baseline for how you expect to be treated moving forward. Step 4, rebuild attraction. Don't resume the old relationship. Get this. Whatever dynamic existed before she left was not strong enough to keep her there. So if you recreate that same dynamic, basically you're just rebuilding the same outcome. Nothing changes unless you change the structure. So instead of thinking, we're back together, you need to think, this is a new interaction with someone that I have history with. And I believe that that way of thinking alone will change how you move. Now, let's break down what rebuilding attraction actually looks like. When she first met you, there was uncertainty. She didn't fully know who you were, didn't know how available you were, didn't know how much access she had to you. And basically that uncertainty created attraction over time. And then you became predictable, available, emotionally transparent, easy to read. And once that happened, the entire tension began to drop. Now she's back, and you have a rare opportunity to reintroduce that tension again. But only if you resist the urge to fall back into old patterns. You see, some guys try to do this to rebuild attraction by acting different in a forced way. So now you're becoming overly mysterious, overly detached, almost robotic. It's not attractive. It's actually sending a lot of mixed signals, confusing, right? You don't need to become someone else. You do need to remove the behaviors that made you so accessible, too predictable, too emotionally dependent. That's the real adjustment that you need. You're still you, just with stronger boundaries and better control over your time and energy. You have to let her reinvest. And when she does, acknowledge it. But don't over-reward that investment. Let it build gradually. Because if you jump in too fast, you collapse the space again. Think about it. If she didn't have to work to get you back into her life, what makes you think that she'll value being there? Effort creates value. And finally, step 5. Watch her actions and not her words. I say this for last because it goes without saying. When she comes back, your mindset should shift from emotional participant to a calm observer. You're not chasing clarity anymore. You're watching for it. And clarity shows up in patterns and not promises. So what exactly are you watching for, you may ask? A couple of things, indulge me. First, I say consistency, okay? Not necessarily intensity. A lot of women come back with a burst of energy. Feels great, right, in the moment. That means nothing if it fades after a few days. Consistency is what matters. Does she show up the same way over time? Or does she slip back into the same patterns that made you question things before? Because really, if the pattern repeats, then the outcome will definitely repeat as well. Second thing, effort. Is she initiating conversations? Is she suggesting plans? Is she making time for you? Or are you still the one driving every interaction? If you're still leading 90% of the interaction, then basically nothing has changed. She's just re-entered your life without increasing her investment, and that's not a relationship, guys. It's just a matter of convenience. Third, respect for your time and boundaries. When you slowed things down earlier, did she adjust? Did she respect your pace? Or did she try to rush things back to how they were? Did she acknowledge your standards when you addressed what happened? Or does she brush it off? Respect is not what she says, it's how she responds to your boundaries. You see, without objectivity, you can't make good decisions. Don't forget, this is all about your standards. Watching her actions is not passive, it's selective. You're deciding based on what you see, how much access she gets moving forward. If she shows consistency, effort, respect, you can gradually open up more. And if she doesn't, don't escalate that connection. It's as simple as that. My name is Jessica OS. Hope you got value from this video. I'll catch you in the next one. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel.